Is AEW television getting back to where it once was?
That's what I'm hearing. Like, we're actually interested. I heard it wasn't so great, but it was kind of great.
I have to say, I don't know what's going on with AEW, but both Dynamite and Collision this past week brought it, and we are here to review it.
Yeah, Dynamite was a lot of fun. Like, I was
Oh.
much excited, and all I've heard is not so great things. I missed one or two here and there, but I've been trying to catch up. And there was one from 2 weeks back that was sort of like, what are we doing? This last one was like, oh,
This
hello.
Dynamite was good, and for the first time in the report card history, I gave Collision an A-.
Oh, such a high grade, really. All
I
right.
really, really
Good.
enjoyed Collision this past week, but more about that in a little bit. But hi, all you Reese WrestlePod nerds out there.
You say
It could be because I have dust in my nose because it's been windy outside. I did not say greasy.
all you greasy WrestlePod.
I mean, look, we're trying to shed the image because when people think of wrestling fans, they think of like the equivalent of the South Park World of Warcraft nerds. Like,
Sure.
so
You just dropped that so arbitrarily. I was like, greasy? Okay.
anyways,
Sorry.
so the professor is here. Hi.
Hi. Sorry, my fault. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So I'm happy to have the professor here because I wasn't sure if I was going to be rocking this solo, but hey, I'm not going to have to. So
Hey,
we're
I'm
all
here.
good.
I'm alive.
We'll talk more afterwards because I have questions.
I have some stories. I'll tell you all about it.
I cannot wait. But of course, before we get into our AEW review for All Elite Ensemble, you already know the drill. If you like what you see on the screen and you want to see more shenanigans as well as report cards and other things, check us out all over the social medias. We have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, we have a TikTok, we have a Blue Sky. We're, of course, on YouTube and Twitch. We have merchandise. It's link in the description below. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I got because I'm really excited to talk about AEW. So we're just going to do that. And then at the very end, we're going to talk about it because this Saturday is Grand Slam Australia. Not a pay-per-view, might I add. It's just a special show that's taking the place of Collision on Saturday.
Which the card kind of went from to, oh my God, we're doing what this weekend?
We're going to talk about the 5 matches that are scheduled at the very end. But we got to talk about how we got to that point. So let's kick things off with Dynamite. So, man, I've really enjoyed this Dynamite. And we kind of start off how most Dynamites start off now with some form of iteration of rated FTR and the, Death Riders, because we started with a brawl. So we are outside of the arena where Renee Paquette is getting an interview with Switchblade Jay White and asking him about his newfound, partnership with Rated FTR. Jay White gets a couple lines in saying, he gets to work with Mr. I love that Jay White of everybody still calls him Adam Copeland, which is, I love it so much. But we don't wait long because then it becomes a 5-on-1 situation where Jay White is face to face with the Death Riders. And then coming from behind the camera, we see Raid FTR and everybody else is like even the odds, and then they begin to brawl.
This was so smart. I love the way they did this in the sense of, me versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I was like, that's like action movie stuff. I love the start of this. We've talked about,
yep.
I think it was for about a year. We were talking about AEW Dynamite, not so great at the cold open stuff. I don't mean to say it like that too, but sort of come in on the middle of something, make it interesting from the beginning. They would start with a promo or match, which is fine, but the momentum wasn't always there. Promos like this do the job. And then what's her name? Just straight up picking up Renee and walking her away like,
oh my God, like was laughing at that, but like in the best way possible. Marina Shafir picking up Renee is just like, all right, they're gonna fight. We need to go over here.
We're gonna
literally
go.
It's like we're about to fight. Go pick up my wife. Like
it was AEW. We've talked about this too. I'm sorry. They'll do something and then vice versa. AEW did something that WWE's been doing really well with the sort of steady cam follow through the thing. They haven't been able to make it click. This one was great. I was very impressed with this.
Oh, absolutely. And we went from the outside of the arena through the arena to inside the arena where the fight continued and everyone began to brawl. And eventually the Death Riders would end up leaving and retreating. But we get Mr. formerly known as Adam Copeland, Mr. Cope, gets on the mic and once again challenges Mox to an AEW World Championship match at Revolution coming up in about 5 to 6 weeks. And Mox is like, no. But then Jay White gets on the mic and challenges Mox and Claudio to a Brisbane street fight at Grand Slam Australia, which we get confirmation later. It will be Mox and Claudio versus Jay White and Cope in a Brisbane street fight at Grand Slam Australia. And I'm here for it.
That's gonna be someday. We got to figure out the differences between all these Chicago street fight, San Juan street fight, Brisbane street fight. There's got to be something that makes them all different, right? They can't all be the same. Do we have an update on Pac's back? Like, he got cut up by that light. That looked awful.
That was wild.
I mean, this thing it was controlled violence, and whatever else, but it was still like they were rocking each other. I thought this was a great promo too. This made my promos of the year because it started with a promo. There was stuff that happened. It ended in the promo. So this is on my list to look at the end of the year because it told a story. I was interested. I know we've had kind of a flip of the coin FTR over the last 6 months. Like, do we, don't we? This seems to work. I do wish it wasn't Death Riders. I feel like there's 100 better names than that, but I'm not going to fault them. They make more money than
I know. I'm still here for, at one point, I thought they were called the Switchblade Conspiracy, which I would have preferred, but
I would read that book. That sounds amazing, right? Goodness.
So while we're still waiting to see who Mox is going to face at Revolution, I still think it's Cope. At least we get something at Grand Slam Australia, which is great. This was a fun opening segment. I thought this was the stronger ones that we have seen in the last couple of weeks and even last couple of months. Strong start to the show. So Dynamite wastes no time because then we jump into a backstage segment where basically Buddy Matthews calls Okada a bitch.
This is so good.
And we get this match made. It's going to be Buddy Matthews versus Kazuchika Okada for the AEW Continental Championship at Grand Slam Australia. And I'm like, this match is going to slap. Like, I'm here for it.
And then after what we saw later, right? Like by the end of Dynamite, it was like, oh my goodness. Like this is gonna
and they continued on Collision 2 with the face-to-face interview. It was amazing. I love it.
Okada is still brilliant at this stuff. Buddy Matthews, I wasn't seeing a lot of Buddy Matthews when we had the trios thing going and all that stuff. I didn't know Mr. Black has left. Who knows where he's gonna end up. I've always liked Buddy Matthews. I see a lot of him on Dynamite when I was watching at the peak of this stuff. He's amazing. Not that he ever wasn't, but he is so good.
Well, I mean, since you brought him up, so really quickly, the news from, a day or two ago. Yeah, so of course, Malachi Black is no longer a part of AEW. His contract expired, so he is now a free agent. AEW is not holding any of the performers to a 90-day no-compete clause, so we'll see where he end up. But he's not the only person who is now gone from AEW. We also found out that Miro, formerly known as Rusev, is no longer part of the company. But the big one for me is that
Ricky Starks was kind of misused for a while. We know that. I actually liked him and Big Bill for a while when that was running. I remember
when they were the tag champs.
That was kind of fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Segue, we got to get to talking to stuff. When Andrew and I went and saw the Dynamite taping in San Francisco at the Cow Palace, when they let the crowd in, when we were walking around in the lobbies, they hadn't shut all the doors yet. So we came around a corner and we were just sort of wandering, and there were these huge, like double doors open. And we could look out and we saw the parking lot and the bus. But then we also saw like half a dressing room, some makeup mirrors, and then like Ricky Stark chilling there with half a shirt. And I was like, and Andrew just really loudly, hey, that's Ricky Stark. And then the doors closed. Like, oh no, boom. Because the big reveal later on, that was the Jericho feud. And all of a sudden Ricky Starks shows up. And Andrew was like, damn, like he knew it like didn't hit the same way for him. I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's got stuff to do. I'm interested to see where Miro goes. Because Miro, again, not quite used the way he could have or should have been. Dude's an ogre. And not that other promotions are short on ogre. And you kind of have a, what am I going to do with you? Where are you going to go thing? It's such a strange time. This time of year when everyone's getting let go and released and other stuff, it's just such an odd, you could second guess those chances forever, right? Like why this, what that it's
yeah. And that's
crazy.
Always my first thought with any of these. And then my next thought afterwards is like, I wonder where they're going to pop up. So that's the other thing too.
You have to, right? Here, wonder if they went there. Miro at GCW? Holy crap.
I would love that. And I mean, hey, we're going to talk about a GCW star who I'm excited for her first feud in AEW. When we'll talk about that when we get Collision though. I'm excited.
You were
But again,
Andrew was telling me all about that. Yeah.
I'm so excited. Also, side note, I'm jealous that you and Andrew get to have so many conversations in person. I'm like,
I mean, we play with swords every Friday. You should come up here sometime. We'll talk.
I know what you meant, but out of context, I mean,
I've seen basketball. I know the joke. Anyway, continue. Go ahead.
anyways, so that segment made this match, and then we officially get into our first match of the evening: Will Ospreay versus a member of the Don Callis family. Okay, so I'm not mad about who it ended up being. I just a little puzzled as to why we skipped a couple of chapters to get there, but I digress. So Will Ospreay comes out, big applause, comes to the ring, is ready to fight. Don Callis comes out, he gets on the mic, he cuts a short little promo saying, when he thought about who should come and face Will Ospreay, we recruited a new member, and I'm like, ooh, who's about to be? And then we come to find out that Don Callis the Don Callis family's newest member is Mr. Mark Davis, who is now heel, I guess. So again, I don't hate this because Will was shocked. I did not include the picture because I forgot to, but Will's face is like, what the F? I was like, are you kidding me?
I just saw it on the replay. He sold it really well. Yeah.
Love it. So I'm not mad that it's Mark Davis, but I am perplexed as to how we skipped a couple of chapters turning Mark from face to heel. I need more details, unless they're going to tell me, be like, I needed the money. I didn't want to do this, but I got kids to feed. Like Heath Slater it, but more dramatic. Like
they kind of layered that in, or commentary tried to with Don Callis, right? Has on you. I don't know what he does on you, but whatever else. I liked Aussie Open. I hadn't seen him in a while. I'm kind of sad to see that take a back seat, but I get it. And of course, Kyle Fletcher's doing what he's doing and all these teams and things. Ospreay took the taste out of his mouth, man. Those slaps at the top were like, oh my God. And I think he didn't expect any less. Like, he's like, hit me as hard as you can. I'm trying to have more of a scale for my Will Ospreay matches, or else every Will Ospreay match is going to be match of the year, because my impulse about halfway through this was like, this might be on my list. And it might be at the end. He was tossing Ospreay like a rag doll. They made each other look great here. This was fun. You're right. We did skip a few chapters. And then, like we talked on the other promotion, they skipped a bunch of chapters to force the hand, and it kind of worked.
Right.
This one, I could go either way. I kind of want to see why. I want to see how he's using the Callis family. I want to see what he is as a heel. It looks like he can sell it. It looks like it might work. I don't know. I'm going to let this one cook. I think that it has some legs. We'll see.
Right. I think so. And I think we have to see how far AEW is going to take Kenny and Will's partnership into all this. Right. I will say, though, if Mark Davis truly does stay with the Don Callis family, I am excited, because that means we have a heel Aussie Open with Kyle and Mark Davis, should they want to go to the tag team division and take those titles versus the Hurt Syndicate.
How crazy would that be? Wow.
Look, I have said it on multiple occasions. I love Mark Davis. He is like body positivity. I'm like, you go, dad bod.
Yeah, he has like that.
Outside of Bailey, he also has the dump truck. I'm like, dude.
It's almost that. I know we got other stuff to talk to. It's that old man strength thing, right? Where it's just, oh, you don't work out. You're just some normal dude. But rips telephone booths in half.
Right.
Crazy things, right? It's madness.
I love this. So Will Ospreay does pick up the win here over Mark Davis. I really like this match. This is fantastic. And then, of course, we have shenanigans afterwards, too, because Will Ospreay is getting, ready to be attacked from the Don Callis family. Kenny Omega comes out. We basically get the same promo that we did last time, building up to the match at Grand Slam Australia. This one, I felt like we could have cut 30 seconds of it and it would have been fine. But hey, I'm still excited for this match. Also, Takeshita's Twitter game is hilarious, and out of context, it is fun to think about, because literally, he retweeted a picture of the graphic for the match, and he's just like, "This time I'm on top." I'm like, "I love you, Takeshita."
Oh, so good.
Or this time I top, something like that. I was like, "Hey, you know what?"
Yes, that's what it was. This time I top. What?
Takeshita, I love you. I'm excited for this match. This is going to be a fun one this Saturday. It's going to be great. Oh my God. I'm still mourning Private Party, but this picture, I'm like,
damn. Yeah. This is the Easy-E slapping man meat stuff, right? Incredible.
Oh, absolutely. So Hurt Syndicate come out. cut promo, and then I'll just go straight into it. Lights go out, and what happens? We have the return of the Ass Boys, aka the Guns, who are looking great, by the way.
Yeah, dude looks cut. Like, they look really good.
Yeah, so somehow they managed to finagle and talk their way into a tag team championship match next week on Dynamite. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I had no problems with this. We talked about the other promotion, kind of what Bobby Lashley was trying to do with that idea, and I can see how creative has taken it here with what AEW is doing. It totally works here. I really like what this Hurt Syndicate thing is turning into here. That's it. This is great. I like this.
Yep. So next week we get an AEW Tag Team Championship match. It's gonna be a fun one. Harley Cameron deserves a raise. She is my favorite. She has been growing on. She grew on me on 2024, but I feel like she is entering her magnum opus. Like, Lord have mercy, she is great here. I don't even need to explain the pictures.
Perfect. The ventriloquism attempt was superb. The finger under the puppet, amazing. Like, this is also on my list. I had 2 promos of the year on one night of Dynamite, and I'm this was so much fun. I want to know how many takes they did, because Renee's trying not to laugh the entire time. Mercedes nailed it. Like, Mercedes promo stuff's been getting better. This whole I'm gonna hold 100 different championships Mercedes is actually kind of fun. So this was killer. Like, I love this. All about this.
And of course, the cherry on top was when Mercedes turned away to go into her locker. Harley with the finger, and Renee be like, "No, we can't do that. Nope."
So good.
I love it. Hi, Robert, representing Lafayette, Indiana. It's been a while, bud. I'm glad to see you.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you again.
Yeah, we talked about Harley Cameron and puppet Mercedes and actual Mercedes. Harley's trying to get this match, man, and Mercedes won't let it. Don't worry, because when we get to Collision, it finally happens. And honestly, didn't think Harley stood a chance, but I'm like, I think she might stand a chance, but we'll talk about it when we get to Collision.
I really hope this puppet comes back in a sort of Mankind kind of way.
They need to sell that.
I'm really excited about this. Like, the madness these women have going on in this promo. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm surviving, man. Just teaching classes, trying to keep my head above water, man.
It's that time of year for all of us.
We drowning. It's week 4. Feels like week 16. It's been something else.
For real. I'm on month 6. We got 4 more to go.
You're so close. Just keep going.
I know. Spring break. That is what I'm looking towards, because I'm gonna have a lot of people at my house, hopefully. Anyways, so Harley Cameron, love her. This is so much fun. I love it. Oh, Hangman Page. So this one part to me was hilarious in the sense that we technically get Hangman appears live because he's backstage after we come back from commercial talking to Renee Paquette. And then, of course, he gets interrupted by Max Caster, who is still on a solo run after, the breakup of the Acclaim. Which, by the way, I'm like, where is Anthony Bowens? Like, where has he been?
Yeah, Max Caster made it crack about it, too. Like, wherever Anthony is, didn't he say something about it? It's like, yeah.
Something like that. I'm just like, give me my Anthony back. But anyways,
I wonder where he's.
Hangman is mad at Max. It's like, I need you to go away. Like, it's crazy, which then bleeds into, oh God, this was my favorite match in Dynamite. I'm not even going to lie. So we have the Hounds of Hell versus the Don Callis family with Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher making up. God, this match ruled. So good.
This was almost, if they had given him about 5 extra minutes, I could have bought this as a PLE pay-per-view match, right? Like, this, if they had a little bit more time, they had maybe 1 or 2 more spectacle things in here. They went all out on this, which I don't know what was in the water here in the town. I don't even know where they were. Atlanta? Yeah, they were in Atlanta. I don't know why that all of a sudden they were like, we need to bring it, and they did. This was great. Buddy Matthews showed out. I'm always happy to see Buddy Matthews do things. The Brody doing the Ric Flair "we're both dying" thing was hysterical. I thought Kyle killed himself on one of these things. I gotta find it. There's a moment where I was like, oh, I guess he's alive.
Kyle Fletcher almost died on Dynamite, and I think he killed somebody else on Collision.
Yeah,
so good.
His selling is just so beautiful. Some of the stuff that he does.
I also love that Okada trolled Matthews' Buddy when his music hit, and then Buddy's like, what the flip? And then I was like, oh, it's not working. Never mind. Like 2 minutes later, never mind. But hey, Buddy Matthews did not get pinned. Brody King ended up taking that pin, which I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with it because it protects Buddy for his match against Okada at Grand Slam Australia. Also, hi, Brody. Call me. This match ruled. Oh my goodness. I love this match so much. But you're right. I wanted 5 more minutes. And then I'm going to I think this is in my top 10. And usually I reserve that for pay-per-view matches.
Ooh, really? This made your cut? Ooh, I really liked it. I'm trying to have a higher bar this year, but I really, really like this match.
Listen, I'm easy. I don't have too many bars to clear.
Listen, I'm easy. I would have 2
haven't-
promos and a
Yeah.
match in one Dynamite. Was this Dynamite that good? Ooh.
I really enjoyed. I mean, I gave this Dynamite a B+ when I did the report card last week, but I really enjoyed it. This was a fun one. This match was great. This was my favorite match of the Dynamite, but there was some tough competition in this one.
Yeah.
So, of course, the Don Callis family does pick up the win, but as I mentioned, Buddy Matthews did not get pinned, so it protects him for his match coming up this Saturday. I want them to run it back down the line. I think that'd be great.
This was great. No, absolutely. Yeah. I love our Hounds of Hell, even though, again, I wish we had a little bit of a better name. Like, give me something cool and epic, not a teenage punk band. But still, like, they're great.
I mean, it kind of works, though, because Brody King is technically the lead of a punk band. Some sort of.
Oh, really? Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's growing on me. Maybe I'm just being jaded, but yeah, I'll get there.
Love to see it. This had me laughing. So again, we had the reunited Hook and Samoa Joe. And I love this because a couple months ago when we were getting this shtick, you know, Samoa Joe was giving the words of wisdom to Hook, be like, we got to take care of business. You can't just let it go. And I found it really fun that Hook was the one to be like, hey, man, you need to keep a cool head about this. We got to go in and take care of business. You can't be all hot. You can't be hot. Coming in hot. I was like, I love the switch of that. And then we proceeded to watch Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian get their ass into them by Samoa Joe and Hook. But what made it better is that Mama Wayne and Christian watched the whole thing from the outside, from around the corner. And then Christian came in like a concerned parent, be like, oh my gosh, are you guys okay? I'm like,
that was so
brilliant. Good. I loved it.
To do this in a one shot, camera wise, too, is not easy. I love the take of them while the cameraman's leaving, of them just poking their head around like you have right here, like, huh? Oh God, what is this? It's so smart, so much fun. I love that. It kind of sets up Nick Wayne getting screwed by Mom and Papa Christian of down the line, right? Not taking care of and trying to go to the shell. So I like the storytelling element of this. I love seeing Hook and Samoa Joe on the same side. A year ago, they were fighting matches and killing each other. This is fun. It's great.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but because Samoa Joe and Hook are now reunited, this is making me more interested in a feud that I was not when it was just Hook and Christian Cage, the on again, off again, feud of it all. But now we're back to it. All I need now is Shibata to come back and rejoin Samoa Joe and Hook, and I'm here for it.
Oh, run that back. Please get me the Google Translate for Shibata again.
Yes.
Oh, such a good angle.
So I thought this was great. Christian is still a POS, but playing it off. I love it. This is great. We continue to tell the story. Can't wait to see where it goes. MJF is giving me Diet Legend Killer vibes because he's just fighting all the legends. First it was Double J, Jeff Jarrett, which that went nowhere. And this week he got beef because then he gets confronted by Dustin Rhodes of all people. I'm just like, well, okay, first, Max Caster's running away from Hangman Page. He comes into the ring while MJF is cutting his promo. Hangman and MJF have a stare down, which, whenever we get to that feud, I'm like, I'm here for it. And then we watch Hangman chase Max Caster through the audience out the arena. And then MJF cuts the same promo, the promo's against Jeff Jarrett about how he's a loser, all that good stuff. And then Dustin comes out. And now MJF has beef with Dustin. I'm like, MJF is just out here making all the old people mad. Like, what is happening?
Did Dustin did MJF say something about Owen Hart? I never heard that.
I haven't heard it specifically, but I'm going to be completely honest. If he did, I would not. There is nothing that I wouldn't be surprised that MJF said in a promo. I'm like, no, I believe it if he said that.
I believe that he said, all of a sudden we're talking about Jeff Jarrett and he goes, you leave Owen Hart's name out of your mouth. And I was like, wait, what?
I think it was in a previous promo. Again, I don't know what's happening with MJF. He's fighting these wrestlers that are about to retire like in a year or two. Like, what is happening?
I felt like this could have been stronger. Dustin usually gives pretty solid promos one-on-one. This was a little rambly to me, although a different side of Dustin. I do love the fact that he called him Goldie, which was hilarious. And then the whole crowd's going, Goldie! He's like, yeah, you wish. I was like, oh, one time I want to hear that Gold Dust music before Dustin disappears. Anyway, I thought this could be a little stronger. I don't mind security coming in to break him up. I thought that was a fine angle. I didn't mind Dustin's promo right after this. Like, I'm angry. I'm going to hurt you when we go back. Okay, fine. That felt, early 90s to me, so I didn't hate that. I think the build up to this was a little flat. I mean, I'm just kind of nitpicking, though. I did not hate this, but it was definitely kind of a plateau for the night.
We're getting MJF and Dustin fighting each other next week, so we'll see.
Cool.
What
I'm here for it. Yeah, I like seeing it. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Yes, ma'am. First of all, I love this match to begin with. Timeless Toni Storm versus Queen Aminata. I thought took Toni Storm's head off at one point when she knocked her through the middle rope with her butt. I was like, listen, if anyone should inherit the hip attack, Queen Aminata's got it. I loved it. But here's what I loved even more. The mind games of it all, because Queen Aminata makes her entrance. Lovely. Queen, Team Juicy, as Jesse hates that term that she gave herself from when the Queen was in ROH, and I'm going to continue it. So Team Juicy is here, but the mind games that Timeless Toni Storm plays, because Mariah's May music then hits, because Mariah comes out first, she's on commentary, Queen Aminata, and then I'm like, did the production make a mistake? But oh no, Timeless Toni Storm comes out dressed like Mariah May, just like Mariah May did, dressed like Toni Storm towards the beginning of this. Mariah was not having it. Oh my, the match itself was great, but the storytelling and the mind games of it all, oh, chef's kiss. I loved it.
Match was great. They kept cutting away from Mariah May. I wonder if it's because she may or may not have been laughing, but she was trying to take it seriously. Toni Storm hitting all those mannerisms was really fun, and did it just like Mariah May. It was like, oh my god.
I need to know if Toni is a, I feel like Toni screams theater kid to me. I'm like, were you a theater kid in high school, or did
her and Dalton Castle have to have done some, had to have taken at least 1 or 2 theater classes?
Because the level that Toni Storm is doing all these small details when it comes to the character work, I'm like, there is no way that you did not have some sort of, either you were a theater kid or you took an acting class and did really, really well.
Just studying, and the wrestlers that really stand out are the ones that sort of study character and gesture and all that fun stuff. And she's doing it. It's great. This was a lot of fun,
man. And I love that she's getting under Mariah's skin. It's so good. And I'm like, this is another one. I'm like, I don't know. I thought Mariah would walk out, but I'm not so sure no more. And we'll talk about it when we talk about the card for Grand Slam, but love this. We get a quick New York minute from El Nueve, Chris Jericho, who then get promptly attacked by the Outrunners. So that made me really happy. I was like, you go Outrunners. So yay, I have nothing more to say. Main event time. Love this match. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I thought Swerve was going to win here. I'm like, oh, surely Swerve's not going to lose. I was so wrong, but in the best way possible, because thanks to shenanigans and dick punch, Ricochet does pick up the victory here over Mr. Swerve Strickland, which I loved, but more importantly, he made it personal by stealing Prince Nana's coat and wearing it out of the ring as Dynamite goes off the air.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you talk, is that I actually like that Swerve lost this one, because then it's going to make the inevitable revenge that much sweeter story-wise.
I agree. And YouTube TV cut off half of this. So this thing got rolling, and I was like, oh, this is wild. And it was gone. I was like, oh, man. So I had to go do some digging to find the chunks that I missed and clips. And then I heard that part. I agree. I think that's fun storytelling. I still really like Ricochet, the Dexter murderer. I kind of like this sort of
Trevor.
That's right, Trevor. This sort of different side of him. And he worked great with Swerve. They were doing some wild stuff the first chunk of this. So give Swerve something new. It's a little bit more than just scissors to face, which I appreciate. This is great. I got no problem with this. That's fun.
I also love that AEW just also has outside things happen, because this feud also got a continuation in terms of story, because last Friday, me and Andrew were a witness to this when we did our live watch along for the Defy pay-per-view for Defy Wrestling, which is in Seattle, Washington. Great is, oh my God. Sorry. Luis just texted me because he is currently watching NXT. And breaking news, Ricky Starks has made its appearance in NXT. That is nuts. Okay, I'm going to watch this. We're going to save that for later. I'm going to watch it later once we're done here.
We called it. We were just talking about it.
I was like, damn. Now I'm wondering what's going to happen because Ricky just won the Defy Wrestling Championship last week.
Holy shit!
I don't know what that means for WWE, and how that works for Ricky, but that's tomorrow's review. But speaking of Defy,
I gotta go get the bag, Ricky. That's great. Wow, damn.
So really quickly to talk about it. So at Defy this past Friday, because Defy Wrestling is Swerve's home, independent wrestling before, federation before he went to WWE and NXT and all that. He was a world champion in Defy, which also gave us the likes of Nick Wayne and other folks like that from the Washington area. Darby was the Defy too for a little bit. So at this event, Ricochet comes out and the crowd would not let him cut the promos the same way that the crowd never lets Dominic or the New Day right now cut a promo, which is great. Swerve came in, beat his butt. They fought. Ricochet did end up walking away with the coat still, but it was so much fun. And I'm like, storytelling. And we are here to keep you updated on all things wrestling, which is crazy. But this was our main event. This was a fun one that does bring us to the end of Dynamite. So let's go through Collision so I could tell you why I gave it an A-, because this show ruled. Holy crap, this was some great action. So we kicked things off. This was actually a very effective promo from Mox. He talks about the Brisbane street fight that's happening at Grand Slam Australia, which is happening this Saturday. But he also, in this promo, I feel like started to fix some of the issues I had with the story, because Mox in this promo gave us a little bit more reasoning of why he's doing the things that he's doing. And he gave me detail, which I've been wanting since we started the story. And you know what? This was effective. He gets run off by Rated FTR. It did not overstay its welcome. I need this more often because I want to like the story. And this was a step in the right direction for me. Thank you, Moxley, for doing what you need to. Oh my God, this match rules.
What is this madness?
Normally, I'm not a big fan. So this was a triple threat trios match. So it's 3-on-3-on-3. So 9 people fighting, all the stuff. Crazy. But this was such a good match. So we have the Undisputed Kingdom, which is Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly taking on 2.0, which is Daddy Magic and Coolidge, and of course their boy Danny Garcia. And then of course we have Black Excellence of Shane Taylor Promotions, which is Shane Taylor and the Infantry, which I love them to death. Yo, this match was crazy, but it was so good. And funny enough, it wouldn't be till later into the show, thanks to a promo from the Undisputed Kingdom, this also had unspoken trio implications, we're getting a trios championship match, which blew my little mind. So the Death Riders are defending the trios championships on Dynamite against Undisputed Kingdom. Since they won this match, I'm like,
that's interesting. They're going to do trios titles?
That's crazy. But this match was amazing. I thought it was going to be a car crash because this is 9 people in the ring. But holy crap, they did excellence. The Infantry did great. Undisputed Kingdom showed off their trios powers, in the sense, working really well together. But what I was really surprised with, I was like, I forgot how much I like 2.0 and Daniel Garcia as a trio, because they also work really good together. Like the chemistry was right. Everybody got their spots in. Nobody stepped on any toes. This was fantastic. I love this picture of Max Caster. Oh my goodness. So Max Caster still on his mess, calls out Hangman Page. So we're getting an open challenge for Max Caster on Dynamite next week. I'm like, I would not be surprised if Hangman Page answers the call and beats his butt. Like, that is what we're waiting on. So this has been an interesting thing for Max. I'm like, Anthony is MIA right now, so who knows when he's coming back. So very interested to see. This was like in contention to be my match of the night. Holy crap, these two killed it. Mr. Bandito and Brian Keith.
I don't think I've seen Brian Keith in a match in like a year.
Or at least in a one-on-one match.
I was away for a while, but like in a one-on-one, I don't think I've seen it in a long time.
This match ruled. So we had the returning Bandito. Thank goodness that his concussion protocol wasn't super long when he concussed himself back at Final Battle after coming back from injury.
His mask drives me nuts because all I can see is that tiny smile at the bottom, right under where his eyes are.
It's giving me Gimp. It's giving me season 1 of American Horror Story. If you watch that season, you know what I'm talking about.
If you've seen Pulp Fiction, you know
Yep.
what Mikey's talking about.
Hey, you know what? Usually I'm the good one here. You can't
No,
shame me.
I'm
just
not
kidding.
gonna yuck your yum. You do you. That's fine. You see what you see.
No, but back to the match itself. I think this is the strongest that Brian Keith has looked, since the fact that this is a one-on-one match and it's not in a tag team or trios with Jericho and Large William. I forgot how much I enjoy singles match at Bounty Hunter Brian Keith. And even though it was cheesy, one of my favorite spots is these two went back to back and did like an old school like Western shootout, but instead they ran towards each other to kick the head off the other one. It was fantastic. Ultimately, Bandito does pick up the victory here, but then the Learning Tree come out to attack. But the important thing here with all of this is that we'll talk about it in a little bit because we had some returning action. So Learning Tree come out, and it seems, spoiler alert, when we get there, I think we're getting the 3 luchadors going up against the Learning Tree on Collision, which more on that in a little bit. But this match was in contention to be my match of the night until we get to a later match. So I love this. This was great. Large William and Powerhouse Hobbs are looking to collide again. I love that we're continuing to have Powerhouse Hobbs on our screens. And you know what? He's not afraid to fight people in the parking lot like he did last week. Loved it.
Pride of San Francisco. I know he claims Florida, but he's a San Francisco kid to me. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. Love it. So we'll see when these two collide again. Large William, Powerhouse Hobbs, meat on meat action. Here for it. This is what I was talking about. So Roosh destroys his opponent, as he should, and then he beats up on the opponent, which then prompts our Ring of Honor World Television Champion Commander to come out. But of course, it doesn't work because then it becomes a 3-on-1 situation with all of LFI attacking La Faction Ingonables, attacking Commander. But then the lights go down. We get a video package. We get the return of Hologram. So it is Commander taking on Roosh and, LFI. I am here for all the Latino-ness in this feud. Give it to me now.
That's a whole lot of Latin. Yeah, that's going to be wild.
I'm so happy that Hologram is back. I love that Commander is also getting a lot of screen time and being used properly, which is really nice. So I'm excited. This is a fun feud. Can't wait for this.
Which Commander got buried for a while, right? Or was he over at CMLL? Like, we didn't see him up here for a bit.
So, Coleman, to my knowledge, well, I mean, he was mostly being used as, I don't want to say enhancement talent, but he would never pick up a win. And then back in December,
got buried. He was just jobbing random folks. And we were like, what are you doing?
Which is excellent because, he still looks strong in his matches, but I was like, what are we doing? And then I think Tony Khan rewarded him for doing all that because he got put into the survival of the fittest match for the ROH men's television championship back in December at ROH's Final Battle pay-per-view. I was not prepared, nor did I expect him to win, but he and Blake Christian in the final 2 went on for 20 minutes, had a banger, and then he won, dethroning Brian Cage in that whole fatal 6-way match. It was crazy, well-deserved, and I love him. He's great. He's so fantastic. But Commander and Hologram as a team makes me even more excited. That is awesome.
Hologram's entrance is still one of the cooler things that AEW does,
right?
Or that he has. But yeah.
I love it. It's so good. I can't wait to see where this goes next. Best promo of the week for me. This segment was amazing. So Harley Cameron has her own halftime concert here. So let me just show the picture of the setup. She literally played the guitar. She sang a song. It was crazy. Mercedes comes out. She continues to verbally dog walk Harley. Then Harley cuts the best promo that I have seen her cut since being in this company for the last 2 years. She is full of heart. She wants this match. She wants to fight in front of her home country to potentially win the TBS champion. And she's not just a gimmick, that she is. And she wants to be the best TBS champion there is. And I'm sitting here listening to this promo. I'm still pretty sure that Mercedes is going to win, but now there's a small part of me that doubts that. I'm like, I actually believe that Harley could win.
I don't know. I could see benefits to both, but we'll see.
Of course, Mercedes is like, okay, you know what? We've been going at this for weeks. So you know what? I'm going to give you a match. I'm going to embarrass you in front of your country and show everyone why you are just a joke and nothing more than that. which then prompts Harley Cameron to slap the bejesus out of Mercedes, which is crazy to watch. They get into a fight. And the whole entire time, I'm also laughing because puppet Mercedes Monet is almost falling out of Harley's backpack on the background. Like, Harley has the backpack on, was zipped just enough for us to see the puppet. And I'm like, oh, that puppet's going to fall. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, no,
that's
it's not.
Cute. All right, I got to look this promo up. All right.
The segment was funny. The promo from Harley, I was like, now I'm 50-50. Like, I could see them giving the title to Harley, but who knows? But yeah, this was fun. This was great from Harley.
I think we could talk another time because we have other stuff to talk about. The women's division has streamlined some since she got here. So now it's much more of a linear path to who's doing what, when, where. And the women have been booked better the last year since she got there. And I think that was part of the reason, that part of what she was pushing for.
So this was fantastic. Dustin Rhodes takes on a local talent and wins. Moving on. Like, that's literally what this was. I have nothing else to say, but something I have lots to say about. These two went to kill each other, and it was great. So we got Miss Penelope Ford and Thunder Rosa going at it. This was a great match, and I'm like, oh my god, they got 15 minutes. Oh, that's crazy.
Did they really? Damn.
They got
good for them.
Yeah, Penelope Ford, I always say, is very underrated to me. She's so good in the ring. And I love the fact that her and Thunder just got to go out there, have a just fight each other. It was great. This is where I was talking at the beginning, and about a certain somebody from GCW having her first feud with a certain somebody here. Because after the match, Penelope Ford does beat up Thunder Rosa, and then all of a sudden we get the Mega Sis herself, Miss Megan Bayne, coming down, and she F5s Thunder Rosa. And I immediately texted Andrew. I'm like, oh my God, Megan Bayne's first AEW feud is with Thunder Rosa. Give it to me right now.
Whoa, was not anticipating that.
Neither was I.
They better milk that for all that's worth. They better run that a long time. That's great. Wow.
Oh my gosh. As soon as I told Andrew, we start gushing over it. Like, obviously, Megan is still involved with GCW, but
you're gonna try and get Andrew to watch AEW, try and get him off the indie island that he's on.
No, I would never do that. But I told him this because I was just like, we know for the longest time Megan has been wanting to be a part of one of the bigger promotions, and so she hasn't been wrestling that long too. Andrew can probably correct me. I think she's only been wrestling for like 3-4 years, maybe 5 tops.
We had talked about that. Yeah, like I don't want to say she's green at all because she's absolutely put the time in and does the work, right? But she's relatively new to it.
Yeah, but Tony Khan, please don't mess this up for both Megan and Thunder. The fact that Megan gets to fight Thunder in her first feud, allegedly, for according, because this is what you're telegraphing to me on screen, I'm excited. I got excited when I saw Megan F5 Thunder. I'm like, oh my God, please let this be the first feud. Come on, Tony Khan, do this. It's great. We go from this amazing segment to another amazing segment because Mariah May basically has her glamorous exhibition match, which is code for squash match, which Mariah wins easily. But then cinema happens because what happened? So this was brilliant. So here's what happened. So match is over, right? So Mariah begins to beat up on her opponent, who's wearing like a really big black t-shirt or whatever, and is face down, because then we get the return of Luther the Butler, who comes out with a pillow and something and like a black tarp of some sort covering something on the pillow. Luther gets up on the apron, unveils it. It's the bloody shoe that Mariah used to beat Toni Storm with when she turned on Tony after winning the Owen Hart Cup. Mariah doesn't take Luther as a serious threat, goes back to beat up her opponent, who is also still dressed up in her black ring gear. Mariah turns her over. It's not her opponent anymore. It's timeless Toni Storm, who then gets up, fights Mariah. Mariah gets the heck out of Dodge, and Toni Storm is left, sitting on Luther's shoulders to celebrate with the crowd. Again, the mind games, so good. Oh my goodness. Tony's the best character for women's wrestling right now. I don't care what nobody says.
I know, Tony, everyone wants to. I think when women get successful, some fans just want to crush them, and that makes them edgy and cool. Whereas dudes will do the same thing for 20 years and they call it consistency. Anyway, this sounds amazing. I haven't had time to watch Collision, but I'd like to. The Mind Game promos, Tony Storm is kind of nailing it. I mean, she's up there with, well, I don't want to invoke any other names from other promotions, but there's a few other people that know how to do this, and Tony Storm has figured it out.
I'm so excited for this match happening at Grand Slam Australia. Like, the work that both of these women have been putting in is so good. I cannot wait and talk about what's to come next with all of this. So this was brilliant. Match was fun. Mind games galore. Loved it. Kyle killed a man today. This main event slapped so hard.
I saw screenshots of this. That looked crazy.
That brainbuster from the top rope that Kyle does now is crazy. But this was our main event. This was Mark Briscoe versus Kyle Fletcher. These two brought the house down. This match was my favorite match of the whole entire night. And this match brought it up to from a B+ to an A- because 20 minutes, this felt like a pay-per-view match. Holy crap. It was amazing. Holy crap.
They gave him 20 minutes on a Collision. That's a lot of time. We had a 20-minute match here. We had a 15-minute. That's a lot of wrestling.
Collision, to me, and this is how it's always been, Collision always has the better wrestling, in my opinion, because they actually give time to the matches and it's less story driven, whereas Dynamite is more of the dramatics and the story, but still pretty good wrestling. But yeah, Collision this week killed it. This match was amazing. Kyle Fletcher does pick up the victory here. Kyle Fletcher, if depending on where his trajectory goes for 2025, he's already on my short list. Be like, I think you might be my favorite wrestler in 2025, but we'll see.
I mean, he's the one that stands to inherit the world, right? Like, he's on that trajectory. Chris Garcia and him are sort of on similar paths where it's like, you're going to hold titles someday. Like, it's just a matter of time.
Oh, absolutely. Again, if you have not, please check this match out. This was fantastic. This was my match of Collision. This was so good. Which brings us to the end of our AEW review. But before we sign off for the evening, let's talk about Grand Slam Australia, because that is happening this Saturday in place of Collision. It is going to be a show, not a pay-per-view. And for us here in the United States, or Estados Unidos, for those of you that speak Spanish, it will be airing immediately after the NBA All-Star Game, which is like crazy to say. Also, shout out to Bailey for being able to participate in that Celebrity All-Star NBA game. A woman is booked.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's great.
She's great. So the order of these matches is how I would book the show. This is my personal order of how I would have the matches go, but probably not how AEW is going to do them. But this is how I would to keep the flow of the show going. So let's begin with what I think should open Grand Slam Australia, which is the Brisbane Brawl Street Fight. So Death Riders versus Cope and Jay White. Again, last 2 weeks made me interested in Death Riders a little more. Jon Moxley's promo on Collision, I was like, this is what I need. I'm trying to figure out here because, again, in my head, you let the Kiwis and the Australians win. Like, they need to win at this show. And
I mean,
they're what?
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I think in this case, because of what Cope wants from Moxley, I think you have Cope and Jay White win, and I think Claudio takes the pin here.
That kind of makes sense. I don't know if this is going to be a big bloody mess, let's jump through glass thing, but a la
Darby.
Yeah, exactly. But I trust they're going to do something special here.
Right. And because it's like a street fight, kind of, it does make a little sense that Claudio is here because he is the brawler, so he's going to fight people. I think Cope and Jay White win here. Will be one of the few hometown heroes that will win something. So again, I think this should open the show, but who knows what would. So in my little head, after that, our second match of the evening would be the TBS Championship. So I'd have these girls go on second. So Mercedes Moné defending her TBS championship against Harley has made me believe her. Her work is fantastic, which I think this one is also going to burn the house down. So Kazuchika defending his title against Buddy Matthews. In my heart of hearts, I am 50-50, but I'm going to lean towards Okada retaining. Again, I don't think Buddy wins the title here, but I do think he wins it eventually within the next 2 or 3 months.
I don't know. I wonder if they really want to shake it up. Okada's had it for about a year plus.
That's true.
Right? We're coming up on that. So I think they could potentially drop it here. It would be huge for Buddy Matthews. It keeps Buddy Matthews interested in AEW because I'm sure there's other places that would love to bring him over. I would not be surprised if it happened here. I think it could shake a lot of things up. Not that Okada's doing a bad job with it, because Okada does it perfectly, but Okada might want to pivot one way or another, just make things a little different. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Again, this is one of the few matches where truly you could go 50-50, but if I had to pick a side, I'm going to say Okada retains, but I would not be upset if Buddy Matthews wins. So again, in my head, what should be our semi-main event is this AEW Women's World Championship match. Both of these women are fantastic. The character work that has been done since Tony's return has been great. Again, we talked about 50-50. To me, this one is truly 50-50. I honestly have the same amount of reasons for both of these women winning. But if I had to pick, I think this is one of the matches where we see the title change hands.
I agree. I think Tony does. Yeah.
I think Tony gets it back. But again, like I would not be mad if Mariah retains either. But I think for sure, this is the title that I think has the greatest percentage of changing hands at the show.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's just going to take a little bit of time for us to, I'll say it like this. They don't want Mariah to feel like a transitional champion in a storyline. That's not what they want to do. However, giving it back to Tony gives Mariah something to do again. Like, now I need a double revenge plot on top of it. Or Mariah feuds someplace else, which is fine. I don't want to see them bury this. I think this should run a little bit longer. Mariah May keeping it, then it's sort of like, well, where does Tony go? You just keep, right? I think you kind of have to drop it to Tony here, and then Mariah now has her own plot to what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then you can maybe insert someone else into the story. But the fact that and Australia would go nuts.
Oh yeah, this is
they would go crazy.
Well, and the storytelling is beautiful too, because Mariah took the title from Tony in her hometown, because the UK, London is Mariah's hometown. It would be beautiful storytelling and poetry in motion, if you will, for Tony to take the title from Mariah in Tony's hometown of Australia, or home continent, I should say. I think this match is going to slap, and honestly, this is my most anticipated. I've been wanting this rematch since All In from the summer, so I cannot wait to see what happens here. And then, of course, by process of elimination, what is going to probably main event the show, to me, is this match. And I think this is the correct choice. Again, you have UK sensation Will Ospreay taking on video game nerd extraordinaire and, the running joke here between the professor and I, gay or European Kenny Omega, because he hasn't confirmed his fluidity, but, come on now. The Golden Lovers, like, that is just a name ready to happen. So Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay taking on the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita and hometown boy Kyle Fletcher. This match, I think, is going to be amazing. It's going to be great. A little bit of controversy, but
I think they all look strong. I think this feud continues. This could be another, like, one of those Will Ospreay, we're talking about this for the rest of the year matches.
No, absolutely.
Like, look at who's in here. Look at the setting. Like, this is the kind of stuff that lifts them all up. And it's Kenny Omega's big return. This is the biggest one he's done in a year or so. So this could potentially be huge.
Listen, I would love to put Kenny Omega more on my top matches of the year. He already is in. He had my pay-per-view match of January 2025 when he returned to Japan and fought Gabe Kidd. Like, that match was bananas. So I'm excited. I think Grand Slam Australia is going to be fun. And that it does now bring us to the end of our All Elite Ensemble review. So we will be back next week, and I have to talk to a certain somebody, but we might be going from a duo back to a trio, depending on a certain JVL schedule.
We're going to be trios champions again? Oh, it's going to happen?
I don't want to promise anything, but technically the 16th is JVL's final, show for what he's currently doing. So I will talk to him this weekend, and hopefully we can get him back. But if not, we will be patient, because he does miss us. I do want to say that. And he is ready to come back. He is almost,
yeah.
The light is almost at the end of the tunnel though I kind of wish I lived closer because I wanted to go see him in the play that goes wrong.
The photos there.
Amazing.
I really want to know how they did some of the crazy stuff they have staged in there, but we'll find out.
Our next BC WrestlePod special, we will interview JVL and his experience on location with the play that goes wrong. I loved it. But that is going to be it for us here at the Olalita Ensemble. Tomorrow night, you will see me in double duty with Luis and Will as we cover NXT and talk about Ricky Starks being in NXT, which is crazy now. It's 2025. What is wrestling? And then you can see myself being surrounded by two masked men. Out of context, it does sound bad. But anyways, you can see me and two Luch covering CMLL as we prepare for a very interesting tournament called the Torneo de Escuela. So wrestling schools fighting wrestling schools. It is crazy.
That's cool.
I cannot wait. It is going to be so much fun. Cannot wait. All right. But for myself, the professor, and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. Catch us tomorrow night for double reviews of NXT and CMLL. But until then,
thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.